Manchester United have just gone and stolen Omar Berrada from City to become their new CEO, and it's a massive coup for Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos. Berrada was an integral mind behind City's rise to dominance over the last decade, having risen through the ranks at Barcelona for 7 years during their most dominant period in modern history, to become the City's Group Chief of Football Operations, overseeing the running of 13 clubs. We're going to explore Berrada's career from his beginnings in Barcelona through his success at City, and explain to United fans exactly why they should be excited about his appointment. Best in class? Meet Omar Berrada. That right there is a trailer for an Omar Berrada deep dive that we've got coming here on United People's TV very, very soon. I'm very proud of this one. It's probably the best one that we've done so far. And you're really going to get to understand everything about Omar Berrada's career in that video. In this one, we're going to run through an interview with the Financial Times with Omar Berrada, where he speaks about kind of the blueprint to how he thinks, his approach, the systems that he uses, his philosophies, if you want to call it that. And we're going to learn a bit in this video about who Omar Berrada is and how he's going to operate as United CEO. If you enjoy it or you learn anything, please consider dropping a like on the video. But let's run through the key aspects. And you can see the first one here, Omar Berrada, and I think he's right, by the way. When it comes to success, the majority of it is down to design rather than luck. And this is what he said. Go down here, you got the softly spoken. Berrada is confident that City's campaign was by design, not by luck. He said, with the right principles and strategy, success on the pitch will come. And I'm pretty confident that the man that we've got to sit atop of this new structure that we are putting in place is the right one. Because I spoke about it in my live show today. It's the first time I've said it, but it kind of makes like real sense when you think about it. You talk about the spine of a football team. Goalkeeper, your centre-back, your centre-mid, and your striker. You need that for success. I think you need that behind the scenes. You need your CEO at the very top, but you also need your sporting director, your head of recruitment, and the right manager. All that, the spine of the football club as much as the spine of the football team. You know, I haven't had that spine. Omar Berrada is going to sit at the top of it. And you saw the next point that he raises here. And I mean, scream it from the rooftops. Omar, scream it from the rooftops, all right? The commercial growth of the club is predicated or underpinned by success on the pitch. If you have a really good business strategy around it, then it just turbocharges the growth off the pitch. In complete and utter contrast to that melon of a man, Ed Woodward, who was completely convinced that Man United's power as a brand was so strong that it didn't matter when we won the league, we would still be able to get huge growth in revenues. And it just was not the case. You look here at the revenue charts and you can go back to 2014 was a major jump up to 737 million in revenue, right? And you see what happened? COVID there, obviously a massive dip. But between 2014, 2019, United's revenues only increased by 7 or 8% overall. Now they've topped 820. Sure, that's decent. But the growth from 2014 to now is what? 737 to minimal. Certainly by comparison of other clubs. And the thing that's always frustrated me the most about this whole concept that Woodward had was that if you just invested more in a team, you get more success, you get more commercial success, everybody wins. It's a win-win situation. Omar Berrada thinks differently. And aligning those two things is a really important aspect of it all. Because then everybody wins. Then that's where the ambition comes from. It's kind of self-serving. And he speaks a little bit more detail here about the structure. And he goes, look, our job is to ensure that we've created a structure, this ecosystem around everything that we're doing now to make it as consistent as possible so that when there is a downward cycle, we make it as short as possible. Structure, I know I keep going on about this and I keep banging on about it. It's the boring stuff. It's the structures behind the scenes, the processes that Man United just simply have not had. To the point where it's just aggravating and frustrating. Because you see your football club fall apart as a consequence. Now, moving on to the next part here, right? If we've got the right structure in place, we've got Jean-Claude Blanc overseeing from an Ineos director perspective. You've got Brailsford being the processes man, Ratcliffe being the man at the top, Omar Berrada being your CEO, and then you're going to get your sporting director, you're going to get your head of recruitment. You're going to create that structure. What's then needed is the football identity. And this is really, let's be honest, this is the core of what Omar Berrada is going to be doing, right? You can read down here. Berrada stressed the importance of having a football identity on the pitch, supported by a football director who understands a club's playing style and has a multi-year view of what the squad needs to look like, and a coach and staff who believe in the approach. Now you can see there, that is a top-down football identity. That's not going to the manager and saying, what's your style? Okay, we'll build our club around it. It's the other way around. It's, what is our football identity? What is our club's playing style? What's the multi-year view? Where are we now? Where do we want to be in 2, 3, 4 years' time? Who's the right manager to achieve that? Now, if Omar Berrada and the sporting director that we get in place so happen to have the same concept of football identity of what United should be, then I think there is a chance for Erik ten Hag, and it all depends on the football he plays between now and the end of the season. All right? But I think there's a chance that Erik ten Hag could work in Ineos's United. But it might not. It might be that this football identity that Omar Berrada and our sporting director decide upon is in a different direction to Erik ten Hag. And then it will be a handshake, we move on, and Erik ten Hag will leave, and a new coach will come in, and specifically a coach, to focus on the football, to focus on the football identity. That's a big step. That's a big thing that Erik ten Hag had in the first season in parts, but has been missing so much this season. That lack of a consistent football identity. And it's been one of the biggest frustrations of United fans. And another huge frustration of United fans, and something that Omar Berrada speaks about here, is in the transfer market. You know how wasteful we'd be in the transfer market. And this is what he says about the importance of limits, I suppose. Berrada warned the slippery slope that comes if a side starts to overpay clubs, players and agents in the quest for victory. If you have a very solid rationale, that's what Berrada said, as to why you're offering the fee, the salary and the commission, they might not agree with it, but they will accept it. Once you start overpaying, then you lose that argument. And that puts you in a much more difficult position to say to the next one, I can only offer you this. And again, music to the ears of any United fan, because I'm looking at this list here. Anthony, overpaid. Højlund, I think we overpaid. I mean, it was a great talent, but I think we overpaid at the time when we signed him. Casemiro, we overpaid. Mason Mount, we overpaid. Lisandro Martinez, we overpaid. Andrew Onana, I think, was fair market value for the quality of the goalkeeper he was before he came to Manchester United. You can argue about it since. Taro Malacia, I think it was a pretty decent signing. Bayende, seems pretty fair. So that's overwhelming majority of signings we made under Erik ten Hag. We've overpaid, and some significantly. Anthony, Casemiro, probably the two biggest ones. Martinez, I think now you look back and you go, great bargain. But at the time, we definitely overpaid. Having those limits, having the United tax is something that has only come because we are crap at negotiating, and we prove time and time and time again that clubs can just squeeze us and get an extra 10 mil. It makes it very difficult to negotiate. Omar Berrada will change that. I don't know whether the United tax will disappear straight away. We might not get our main targets as a consequence, but the precedent will then be set for future windows, and United will gain some power back in the market. And that's absolutely crucial. It's such an important aspect. I keep saying it. You can measure the success of a football team by how successful they are in the transfer window. That's where United have failed so badly. And that needs to change. And I thought this part was quite interesting. This little snippet here towards the end on AI and data analytics. And this is what he said. He goes, if you fast forward maybe another 10 years, data analytics, whether that's driven by AI or something else, will start to have more and more influence. I don't see it taking over, but I do see it becoming more important. Because this week I covered quite a big segment actually on Ratcliffe's and Ineos's approach towards the transfers, focusing on younger signings and a big focus on data. And this was an interview with Chris Shumba, who's been brought in to work underneath Dominic Jordan, our head of data science. I think he's head of data operations, Chris Shumba. And this is what he said, like, we are on a mission to build the best data platform in sport, not just football. And Omar Berrada there explained that he really feels that AI and data is where football is going. And he's completely correct. It's a massively modern part of the game that United are not modern in at all. And we are far behind. So I think just Just those little snippets there. Of course, we're going to find out more information, but he's not going to become our CEO until, what, summer? I don't think. I'm sure he'll be working behind the scenes unofficially. But he's a big believer that success will come from a design system more than luck. Of course, you're going to get your luck, but it's like real luck is when preparation meets, no, was it? Success is when preparation meets opportunity. A design system. Having a football identity, crucial. Not overpaying in the market, having a limit and being able to stick to it, crucial. To be able to do that, you need alternatives. That's what probably United haven't had. We've had our top choices, but no one else behind them, so we have to get our top choice. And everything else that he says there, especially the bit about commercial success being directly correlated to success on the pitch. That's how I want my CEO talking. And we haven't had a CEO like that. Ever? Well, not maybe since David Gill. And we didn't really hear much from him at that point because it was him and Fergie and it worked perfectly for those two. But in the modern era, we've not had a CEO like that. That's a game changer. I'm looking forward to releasing the Berrada deep dive. This is a sort of an opener, a soft intro into it, and you're going to find out a lot more information in that video. You can let me know what you think in the comments below. But Omar Berrada, the first piece of the puzzle, and more are needed.